Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the UHS Defiance, watching the dead planet slowly rotate below them. The ancient ruins scattered across its surface had been keeping his science team busy for 3 weeks now. Amy Carter and her researchers were excited about their discoveries, but Jake felt uneasy. They were far from human space and completely alone out here. The Defiance was not built for war. She was a research vessel designed to study ancient civilizations and conduct deep space surveys. Her crew of 37 people were scientists, engineers, and support staff. They had basic defensive weapons and shields, but nothing that could stand against a real military force. Lisa Brooks looked up from her engineering console. "Captain, the power readings from those ruins are getting stronger. Amy thinks she might be onto something big down there." Jake nodded but kept watching the sensor displays. Something felt wrong. The space around them was too quiet. In 3 weeks, they had not detected a single ship or signal from any direction. That was unusual even for this remote sector. Danny Sullivan turned from his tactical station. "Sir, I'm picking up multiple contacts on long-range sensors. 12 ships approaching from different vectors. They'll be here in about 2 hours." Jake felt his stomach drop. 12 ships meant trouble. No peaceful exploration fleet traveled with that many vessels. "Can you identify them?" "Working on it, sir." Danny's fingers moved quickly across his controls. Getting partial readings now. They're Kythera vessels. Military configuration. Looks like a full battle group. The bridge fell silent. Everyone knew about the Kythera hegemony. They were a militaristic species that believed in expanding their territory through force. They had been pushing into sectors near human space for the past few years. Most encounters with them ended badly for anyone who wasn't Kythera. "How long until they reach us?" Jake asked. 1 hour 43 minutes at current speed, Danny replied. Jake called down to the planet. "Amy, we need you back on the ship immediately." "We have company coming." Amy Carter's voice crackled through the communicator. "Captain, we're right in the middle of something important. These ruins contain technology that could change everything we know about this region of space. Pack it up now, Amy. We have 12 Kythera warships heading our way." There was silence for a moment. "We'll be ready for pickup in 30 minutes. Jake looked at his options. The Defiance could run, but the Kythera ships were faster and would catch them before they reached the jump point. They could try to hide, but 12 ships would search every asteroid and moon in the system. Fighting was suicide with their limited weapons. "Lisa, how are our systems?" "Everything is running normally, Captain. Shields are at full power and our defensive weapons are online. But against 12 Kythera ship," she didn't need to finish the sentence. Jake understood. "The Defiance might last 5 minutes in a direct fight." The Kythera were known for their overwhelming firepower and aggressive tactics. They didn't believe in taking prisoners or showing mercy to those who opposed them. The shuttle returned with Amy and her team. She rushed onto the bridge carrying a data pad filled with information about the ruins. "Captain, those structures down there are not just archaeological sites. They're part of a massive defense network that once protected this entire system. Is any of it still functional?" Jake asked. "Some of it might be. The power readings suggest that parts of the network are still active, but I need more time to understand how it works. Time is something we don't have." Jake pointed at the main screen where 12 red dots were approaching their position. "Danny, what's our exact tactical situation?" "The Kythera ships are arranging themselves in a sphere formation around us. Classic encirclement pattern. They're cutting off all escape routes before they close in. Very professional." Jake studied the formation. The aliens were being methodical and careful. They obviously knew about human tactics and didn't want to take any chances. That meant they had studied human military doctrine and probably expected either immediate surrender or a brief hopeless fight. "Captain," Amy said quietly, "there might be another option. The ruins contain control systems for orbital platforms. If I could activate even one of them, how long would that take?" "I don't know. Maybe hours. Maybe days." The communication system activated with an incoming message. A harsh alien voice filled the bridge, speaking in broken human language. "Human vessel, you are surrounded. You have 1 hour to abandon your ship and surrender. Any resistance will result in immediate destruction." Jake looked around at his crew. They were scared but determined. These were good people who had signed up to explore the galaxy and expand human knowledge. They didn't deserve to die because they had stumbled into the wrong system at the wrong time. "Sir," Danny said, "they're powering up weapons. Looks like they're serious about that 1-hour deadline." Jake made his decision. "Amy, take your team back down to the planet. Find a way to activate those defense systems. Lisa, I need everything you can give me in terms of maneuverability and shield strength. Danny, start analyzing their formation for weak points. Captain, Lisa said, are we really going to fight 12 Cathera warships? Jake smiled grimly. No, Lisa, we're going to do something they don't expect. We're going to think our way out of this. The next 50 minutes passed quickly. Amy and her team returned to the planet's surface and began working frantically with the alien technology. Lisa pushed the Defiance's systems to their limits and beyond. Danny studied every detail of the Cathera formation, looking for any advantage they could exploit. With 5 minutes left in the deadline, Jake opened a channel to the alien fleet. This is Captain Morrison of the UHS Defiance. We reject your demand for surrender. The alien commander's response was immediate. Then you will die human. Your ship cannot stand against our superior firepower. Maybe not, Jake replied. But you're about to learn something about humans that you obviously didn't study in your military manuals. What is that human? Jake's smile was cold and determined. We don't just fight back when cornered, we get creative. The alien fleet opened fire exactly 1 hour after their original demand. But instead of trying to stand and fight or running away, the Defiance did something completely unexpected. Jake ordered the ship to dive straight down toward the planet's surface using the gravity well to accelerate beyond the alien's ability to track accurately. The first barrage of alien fire missed completely as the human ship disappeared into the planet's atmosphere. The Cathera had expected either surrender or a conventional space battle. They had not prepared for an enemy that would use a planet's own gravitational field as a tactical weapon. Admiral Zektar stared at his tactical display in confusion. The human ship had just done something that violated every principle of space combat he knew. Ships fought in space, not in planetary atmospheres. This was not how civilized species conducted warfare. But as he watched the Defiance disappear into the swirling clouds below, he began to understand that perhaps humans were not quite as civilized as his intelligence reports had suggested. The Defiance shuddered as it dropped through the planet's atmosphere. Jake gripped his command chair while the ship's hull heated up from atmospheric friction. The canyon system Amy had discovered stretched out below them like a massive scar across the planet's surface. Take us into the deepest canyon you can find, Jake ordered. Lisa's hands flew over her controls as she guided the ship between towering rock walls. The canyon was so deep that the Cathera ships above could not get a clear shot at them. Shields holding at 70%, Danny reported. The atmospheric entry damaged some of our outer sensors, but we're still operational. Jake activated the communication system. Amy, report. Amy's voice came through clearly from the ruins below. Captain, I'm making progress with the control systems. These platforms were designed to respond to specific energy signatures. I think I can activate at least one of them, but I need more time. How much time? Several hours at minimum. Maybe longer. Jake looked at the tactical display. The Cathera ships were holding position above the atmosphere. They seemed confused by the human ship's unexpected maneuver. Danny, what are they doing up there? Looks like they're regrouping. They're probably trying to figure out how to attack us in this canyon system. Wait, I'm detecting movement. They're launching dropships. Lisa turned from her engineering station. Captain, they're sending ground forces. Looks like they plan to dig us out the hard way. Jake nodded. This was what he had expected. The aliens would send troops to flush them out of their hiding place. But they were about to discover that fighting humans on the ground was very different from fighting them in space. Lisa, how quickly can you modify our mining equipment? What did you have in mind, sir? I want you to turn our geological survey drones into guided missiles. Can you do that? Lisa's eyes lit up with understanding. Yes, sir. The drones have their own power sources and navigation systems. I can rig them with explosive charges from our mining supplies. Do it. Danny, I want you to take our mining charges and set up defensive positions throughout this canyon. Make it very unpleasant for anyone trying to walk through here. Understood, Captain. Jake watched the dropships descending through the atmosphere. The Cathera were bringing down what looked like 2 full companies of troops. They obviously expected to overwhelm the humans through superior numbers and firepower. They had no idea what they were walking into. Lisa worked frantically in the engineering bay, converting survey equipment into weapons. The geological drones were designed to navigate through dangerous terrain and take detailed measurements. With some modifications, they would make excellent guided missiles. She attached mining charges to each drone and programmed them to seek out enemy targets. Danny climbed through the canyon system, setting up booby traps. The mining charges were designed to break apart solid rock. Against living targets, they would be devastating. He placed them at strategic points where the enemy would have to pass through narrow passages. The first Cathara troops landed at the canyon entrance. They moved in tight formations with heavy weapons and advanced armor. Their commander was confident that his superior firepower would make quick work of the trapped humans. He was wrong. The first trap triggered when the alien squad reached a narrow passage between two rock walls. Danny had rigged mining charges to bring down part of the canyon wall. Tons of rock crashed down on the alien troops, crushing them instantly. The second squad tried to advance through a different route. Lisa's converted survey drones came screaming out of hidden positions like angry metal birds. The explosive charges they carried were small but precisely targeted. The aliens had never faced weapons that could think for themselves and adjust their attack patterns in real time. Jake watched the battle through the ship's sensors. "Danny, how many hostiles are left?" "About half of the original force, sir. But they're learning to be more careful. They're moving slower and checking for traps. Then we need to give them something new to worry about." Jake had been studying the canyon system while his crew prepared their defenses. The ancient ruins were not just on the surface. They extended deep underground through a network of tunnels and chambers. Amy and her team were working in the largest complex, but there were dozens of smaller sites throughout the area. "Amy, are there any other control systems you can access?" "Actually, yes, Captain. There are secondary nodes scattered throughout the tunnel network. I think they were backup systems for the main defense platforms. Can you activate any of them?" "I'm not sure. They seem to require the same energy signatures as the main system, but the power levels are much lower." Jake made a decision. "I'm sending you additional help. Take half of the remaining crew and spread out through those tunnel systems. If you can activate even small defensive systems, it might give us an edge." The battle above ground continued for several hours. The Cathara troops were professional soldiers, but they had never faced an enemy that used the environment itself as a weapon. Every step forward cost them casualties from hidden explosives, falling rocks, or drone attacks. Admiral Zektar watched the battle from orbit with growing frustration. His ground forces should have overrun the human position within an hour. Instead, they were being systematically destroyed by an enemy that seemed to anticipate their every move. "Commander, request immediate reinforcement," came the call from the ground forces leader. "How many humans are you fighting down there?" Zektar demanded. "We estimate 30 to 40 combatants, sir, but they have fortified the entire canyon system. Every position we take costs us heavy casualties." Zektar stared at his tactical display. 40 humans were holding off 2 companies of his best troops. This was not supposed to be possible. The human ship was a research vessel with a civilian crew. They should not have this level of military capability. "Sir," his tactical officer reported, "the humans are broadcasting on multiple frequencies. They're sending detailed reports of our tactics and weaknesses back to human space." This made Zektar even angrier. The humans were not just fighting back. They were studying his forces and sharing that information with their military. Every minute this battle continued gave humanity valuable intelligence about Cathara combat methods. "Begin orbital bombardment of the canyon system," he ordered. "Sir, that will also destroy our own ground forces. They have failed to accomplish their mission. We will eliminate the humans and accept the loss of our troops." The bombardment began 30 minutes later. Massive energy beams lanced down from orbit, striking the canyon walls and floor, but Jake had anticipated this move. The moment the alien ships began charging their weapons, Lisa had moved the Defiance deeper into the tunnel system beneath the ruins. The ship was now completely underground, protected by millions of tons of ancient alien architecture. The orbital bombardment could not reach them without destroying the entire archaeological site. More importantly, Amy had made a breakthrough. Working with the additional crew members Jake had sent her, she had successfully activated 3 of the secondary control nodes. They were not powerful enough to control the orbital platforms, but they did something else entirely. Ancient automated systems throughout the tunnel network came online. Defensive barriers activated, blocking passages and creating choke points. Hidden weapons emplacements emerged from the walls, targeting any non-human life forms in the area. The surviving Kythera ground forces found themselves trapped in a maze that was actively trying to kill them. Passages that had been open moments before were now sealed by energy barriers. Corridors that seemed safe suddenly filled with defensive fire from weapons that had been sleeping for thousands of years. Within an hour, the alien ground forces were completely eliminated. The ancient defense network had awakened, and it did not distinguish between current invaders and the enemies it had been built to fight long ago. Jake smiled grimly as he watched the tactical display. The aliens had expected to face a helpless research crew. Instead, they had awakened something that had been waiting in the darkness for millennia. Something that was very good at destroying invaders. The real fight was just beginning. Amy Carter stood before the massive control console in the deepest chamber of the ancient ruins. Her hands moved across interfaces that had not been touched for thousands of years. Strange symbols glowed under her fingers as she worked to understand the alien technology. "Captain, I think I've found something incredible," she called through her communicator. "These ruins aren't just defensive platforms. They're part of a network that spans the entire system." Jake's voice crackled back from the ship. "Can you activate more of it?" "I'm trying, sir. The main orbital platform is responding to my commands. But there's something else here. The original builders designed this system to recognize specific quantum signatures. Human technology generates similar patterns to whatever species built this place." Deep in the tunnel system below the Defiance, Lisa Brooks was working on her own project. She had converted the ship's mining equipment into weapons, but now she was attempting something much more ambitious, using salvaged parts from destroyed alien dropships and components from the ancient ruins. She was rebuilding the Defiance's entire weapon and shield systems. "Danny, I need you to help me with something," Lisa called over the intercom. Danny Sullivan made his way through the tunnel to the makeshift workshop Lisa had set up. "What are you working on?" "Look at this." Lisa pointed to a collection of alien technology spread across several tables. "The Kythera power systems are completely different from ours, but they're actually more efficient. If I can integrate their energy cores with our existing systems, we might be able to boost our capabilities significantly." Danny examined the alien components. "Can you make it work with our ship?" "I think so, but it's going to require some major modifications. The Defiance won't look or function like a research vessel when I'm done with her." Above them in orbit, Admiral Zektar was becoming increasingly frustrated. His ground forces had been completely destroyed, and the orbital bombardment had failed to eliminate the human ship. Worse, his sensors were detecting strange energy readings from the planet's surface. "Tactical officer, what are those power signatures?" "Unknown, sir. They appear to be coming from the archaeological sites the humans were studying. The energy levels are increasing rapidly." Zektar studied the displays. Something was happening on the planet below. The humans were not just hiding and defending themselves. They were actively working with technology they had discovered in the ruins. "Sir, contact from the Fleet Command," his communications officer reported. "Admiral Thekral is requesting a status update." Zektar hesitated. How could he explain that a single human research vessel was holding off his entire battle group? That his ground forces had been eliminated by ancient defensive systems? That the humans seemed to be activating technology that his own scientists could not identify? "Tell Admiral Thekral that we are dealing with unexpected complications. The human vessel is more heavily armed than our intelligence indicated." It was not entirely a lie. The human ship had proven to be far more dangerous than expected. But it was also not the complete truth. Deep underground, Amy made a breakthrough. Her fingers found the correct sequence of commands, and suddenly, the ancient control system fully activated. Displays lit up throughout the chamber, showing the locations of defensive platforms scattered across the system. "Captain, I've got it working," she called excitedly. "There are dozens of orbital platforms throughout the system. Most of them are still functional. Can you control them?" "Yes, sir. The system recognizes human quantum signatures as friendly. It's treating us like we're the original builders returning home." Jake felt a surge of hope. If Amy could control even a few of those platforms, they might have a chance against the Kythera fleet. "Amy, can you target the alien ships?" "Working on it now, Captain." The first orbital platform that came online was positioned near the system's outer edge. It had been dormant for millennia, but its weapon systems were still operational. Amy studied the targeting controls carefully before selecting her first target. The beam that lanced out from the ancient platform was unlike anything the Kythera had ever seen. It cut through the shields of the furthest alien cruiser like they were not even there. The ship exploded in a brilliant flash that lit up space for thousands of kilometers. What was that? Zektar demanded. Unknown weapon, sir. It appears to have originated from somewhere in the outer system. One of our cruisers has been destroyed. Zektar stared at the tactical display in disbelief. There were no other ships in the system. The only possible source of that attack was some kind of fixed installation, but his sensors had not detected any artificial structures in that area. Begin immediate defensive maneuvers. All ships maintain maximum alert status. Meanwhile, Lisa had completed the first phase of her modifications to the Defiance. She had successfully integrated alien power cores with human systems, creating a hybrid that was far more powerful than either technology alone. But the changes were just beginning. "Jake, you need to see this," Lisa called from her workshop. Jake made his way through the tunnels to where Lisa was working. What he saw took his breath away. The Defiance's original components were still recognizable, but they had been enhanced and modified with alien technology. New weapon systems had been installed and the shield generators had been completely rebuilt. "Lisa, what have you done to my ship?" "I've made her better, sir. The power output is now 3 times what it was before. The shields are stronger and our weapons are more accurate. But that's not the best part." "What's the best part?" "I've figured out how to interface our systems with the ancient planetary network. Amy can feed targeting data directly to our weapon systems. We can fight like we're part of the planet's defense grid." Jake stared at the transformed interior of his ship. The Defiance no longer looked like a peaceful research vessel. She looked like something designed for war, something that had been built to hunt and destroy enemies. "How long until she's ready?" "Give me 6 more hours, Captain. When I'm done, the Cathera are going to get a very unpleasant surprise." Above them, Amy continued to bring more orbital platforms online. Each one that activated gave her better coverage of the system and more firepower to direct against the alien fleet. She was beginning to understand the full scope of what the ancient builders had created. This was not just a defense system. It was a trap designed to lure enemies into the system and then destroy them completely. The ruins on the planet's surface were bait. Any aggressive species that tried to claim the system would find themselves facing weapons they could not understand or defeat. "Captain, I have 8 platforms online now. I can engage multiple targets simultaneously." "Do it, Amy. Let's show these aliens what human ingenuity can accomplish when we have the right tools." The next salvo from the orbital platforms targeted 3 Cathera ships at once. The alien vessels tried to maneuver, but the ancient weapons tracked their movements perfectly. 3 more ships exploded in rapid succession. Admiral Zektar watched half his fleet disappear in the space of 10 minutes. His tactical officers were shouting conflicting reports and recommendations. None of them understood what they were facing. "Sir, should we retreat?" Zektar considered the option. Military doctrine suggested that retreat was the logical choice when facing unknown superior firepower. But Cathera pride would not allow him to flee from a single human ship. "No. We advance. Whatever weapons they have activated cannot be unlimited. We will overwhelm them through sheer firepower." It was exactly the kind of thinking that Amy had hoped for. The ancient defense network had been designed to exploit the aggressive nature of militaristic species. The more ships the aliens brought into the system, the more targets the orbital platforms would have. Lisa emerged from her workshop covered in grease and alien lubricants, but smiling with satisfaction. "Captain, the Defiance is ready. We are no longer just a research vessel." Jake looked at his transformed ship and his crew, who had become something far more dangerous than they had ever imagined. The aliens had cornered them, expecting easy prey. Instead, they had awakened something that was about to hunt them across the entire system. "All stations prepare for combat operations. We're going up to say hello to our visitors." The Defiance rose from the planet's surface like something born from nightmares. The ship that emerged from the canyon system barely resembled the research vessel that had entered it. Lisa's modifications had transformed the hull into a hybrid of human engineering, Cathera technology, and ancient alien systems. Jake stood on the bridge watching the tactical display as they climbed toward space. The ship felt different now. More powerful, more alive. The integration with the planetary defense network meant that Amy could feed information directly to their systems in real time. "Captain, I'm reading massive energy signatures from our position," Danny reported. "The aliens know we're coming." "Good," Jake replied. "Let them see what they've created." Admiral Zektar stared at his sensors in disbelief. The human ship rising from the planet below was generating power readings that should have been impossible for a vessel of that size. Whatever the humans had done during their time hiding underground had changed everything. "All ships target the human vessel," he ordered. "Concentrate fire and destroy it immediately." The remaining 8 Kythera ships opened fire with everything they had. Energy beams and projectile weapons filled space around the Defiance. But the transformed ship moved through the barrage like it was swimming through water. Lisa's enhanced shield systems absorbed the incoming fire, while the ship's new maneuvering capabilities allowed it to avoid most of the attacks. "Shields holding at 90%, Danny reported. "Their weapons are barely scratching us." Jake smiled coldly. "Danny, return fire. Show them what real weapons look like." The Defiance's new weapon systems opened up with devastating effect. The hybrid technology that Lisa had created combined the best aspects of 3 different civilizations. Human targeting computers guided Kythera energy cores through ancient alien focusing crystals. The first shot struck a Kythera destroyer dead center. The alien ship's shields collapsed instantly and the hull began to break apart under the assault. But Danny was not finished. He tracked the ship's movement perfectly and fired again. The destroyer exploded in a brilliant flash. "1 down," Danny announced. 7 to go. But the Defiance was not fighting alone. Amy continued to control the orbital platforms throughout the system. As the Kythera ships maneuvered to attack the human vessel, they exposed themselves to fire from multiple directions. 2 more alien ships died before their commanders realized what was happening. They were not just fighting one ship. They were fighting an entire defensive network that had been designed to destroy intruders. "This is impossible," Admiral Zektar muttered. "How can one human ship control so many weapons?" His tactical officer provided no answers. The situation was beyond anything in their military manuals. The humans had somehow activated technology that the Kythera could not understand or counter. Jake opened a communication channel to the alien fleet. "Admiral Zektar, this is Captain Morrison. You wanted to see how humans fight when cornered. Are you enjoying the demonstration?" "Human, your resistance is futile. We have reinforcements coming." "I know," Jake replied calmly. "We've been monitoring your communications. 12 more ships will arrive in approximately 4 hours. We'll be ready for them." This sent a chill through the alien commander. The humans were intercepting and decoding Kythera military transmissions. They knew about the reinforcements. They were planning for a larger battle. The Defiance continued to hunt the remaining alien ships with methodical precision. Danny had studied their movement patterns and tactical responses during the initial engagement. Now he was using that knowledge to predict their actions and strike where they were most vulnerable. "Captain, I'm detecting something interesting," Amy reported from her position integrated with the planetary network. "The alien ships are trying to jam our communications with each other. But the ancient network uses quantum entanglement for data transmission. They can't block it." This gave the humans a massive advantage. While the Kythera ships struggled to coordinate their attacks, the Defiance and the orbital platform shared information instantly across the entire system. "Amy, can you map their entire fleet disposition?" "Already done, sir. I know the exact position and status of every alien ship. I can predict their movement patterns based on their previous actions." Jake felt like he was seeing the battle from the perspective of a god. The ancient technology gave him awareness of everything happening throughout the system. He could track individual ships, monitor their communications, and predict their tactics before they implemented them. "Danny, next target is the heavy cruiser on our starboard side. He's trying to flank us." "I see him, Captain. Firing now." The heavy cruiser had been attempting to circle around and attack the Defiance from behind, but Danny's shot caught the ship in the middle of its maneuver. The alien vessel tumbled out of control before exploding in a cascade of secondary detonations. Lisa emerged from the engineering section with another update. "Captain, I've finished the next phase of modifications. We can now absorb energy from destroyed alien ships and use it to enhance our own systems." "What do you mean?" "Every time we destroy one of their ships, our weapons become more powerful. We're literally feeding on their technology and making it part of our own." Jake stared at his chief engineer. "Lisa, you've turned us into something that grows stronger by destroying our enemies." "Exactly, sir. The ancient builders designed this system to learn and adapt. We're not just using their technology, we're becoming part of it." The psychological effect on the remaining Kythera ships was devastating. They were watching a human vessel that seemed to become more dangerous with each ship it destroyed. Their energy weapons grew brighter. Their shields became stronger. Their movements became more precise. Admiral Zektar realized that his fleet was not fighting a ship anymore. They were fighting something that was evolving during combat, something that learned from each engagement and became deadlier as the battle continued. All ships retreat to minimum safe distance, he ordered. We wait for reinforcements. But Jake was not going to let them escape that easily. Amy, can you track their withdrawal? Yes, Captain. But there's something else. I'm detecting automated systems throughout the asteroid belt. The ancient network extends much further than we originally thought. Show me. The tactical display updated to reveal the true scope of the alien defense network. Weapons platforms, sensor arrays, and automated factories were hidden throughout the system. What they had discovered was not just a planetary defense grid. It was a manufacturing and logistics system designed to support extended military operations. Captain, Amy continued, the system is offering to provide us with additional resources. It wants to build more ships like the Defiance. Jake considered the implications. The ancient technology could create an entire fleet of hybrid vessels, combining human ingenuity with alien engineering. They could transform from a single trapped research ship into a force capable of challenging entire alien empires. How long would it take? The automated factories could produce a new ship in approximately 18 hours, but each one would be unique, designed specifically for its crew and mission parameters. Danny looked up from his weapons console. Captain, the retreating Kythera ships are maintaining position at the edge of sensor range. They're waiting for something. They're waiting for reinforcements, Jake replied. 12 more ships that think they're coming to help finish off a single human research vessel. He opened a communication channel that broadcast throughout the system and beyond. This is Captain Jake Morrison of the UHS Defiance to any human vessels in range. We have successfully activated an ancient defense network and transformed our ship using hybrid technology. We are preparing to engage a larger Kythera fleet. All tactical data and technology specifications are being transmitted continuously. Lisa smiled from her engineering station. Captain, are we about to become the first human ship to start our own war? Jake looked around the bridge at his crew who had transformed from researchers into something far more dangerous. No, Lisa, we're about to become the first human ship to finish someone else's war. The reinforcements that Admiral Zektar was expecting would arrive to find not one human research vessel, but the beginning of something that would change the balance of power throughout the galaxy. The Defiance had become the heart of a system designed to destroy aggressors and protect those who sought knowledge. The aliens had thought attacking a human starship would be simple. They were about to discover how very wrong they had been. The reinforcements arrived exactly when Amy predicted they would. 12 fresh Kythera warships dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the system, expecting to find the remains of a destroyed human research vessel. Instead, they found Admiral Zektar's surviving ships retreating from something that defied all military logic. Admiral Thekral commanded the reinforcement fleet from his massive battleship. He immediately demanded an explanation from Zektar. Report your status immediately. Why have you not eliminated the human vessel? Zektar's response was filled with barely controlled panic. Admiral, the situation has changed dramatically. The humans have activated some kind of ancient weapons network. They have destroyed 7 of my ships and transformed their vessel into something we do not understand. Impossible. Our intelligence reports indicated a single research ship with minimal armament. That was before they discovered what was hidden on this planet, Admiral. They are no longer the same enemy we came here to destroy. Admiral Thekral studied the tactical displays from his command ship. The sensor readings showed a human vessel generating enormous power signatures moving freely through a field of debris that had once been Kythera warships. Energy sources scattered throughout the system indicated active weapons platforms of unknown design. All ships advanced to attack formation. We will eliminate this threat through overwhelming firepower. Jake watched the approaching fleet through the enhanced sensors that Amy had integrated with the ship's systems. 20 ships now moved against them in a perfect battle formation. The aliens still believed that superior numbers would guarantee victory. Amy, status of the defense network? All orbital platforms are online, Captain. The automated factories have completed construction of the first additional vessel. It's ready for crew transfer. Jake looked at the tactical display showing a second ship emerging from hidden construction bays deep within the asteroid belt. The new vessel was similar to the transformed Defiance but designed specifically for long-range combat operations. Danny, select a crew for the new ship. Take half our people and show these aliens what a real fleet engagement looks like. Danny nodded and began organizing volunteers. Within an hour, a shuttle had transferred 15 crew members to the new hybrid warship. The vessel came online immediately, its systems automatically configured for optimal combat efficiency. Admiral Thekral watched in amazement as a second human ship appeared on his sensors. Where did that come from? Unknown, sir. It appears to have emerged from the asteroid field. Our sensors detected no construction activity in that area. The two human ships moved to engage the Cathera fleet with perfect coordination. Amy's connection to the planetary network allowed her to control both vessels simultaneously, while their crews handled tactical operations. All ships concentrate fire on the lead human vessel, Thekral ordered. But as the alien fleet opened fire, something extraordinary happened. The orbital platforms throughout the system activated in sequence, creating a defensive barrier around the human ships. Energy beams from 20 Cathera warships struck ancient shields and were harmlessly dispersed. Jake opened a communication channel to the alien fleet. Admiral Thekral, I assume you are the commander of this fleet. Allow me to explain your situation. Human, you will surrender immediately or face total destruction. Actually, Admiral, you're the one facing destruction. You see, this system was designed by a species that understood something about warfare that you obviously do not. What is that, human? The best way to defeat an aggressive enemy is to let them defeat themselves. This entire system is a trap designed to lure militaristic species into a battle they cannot win. Jake's words sent a chill through the alien commanders. They were beginning to understand that they had not stumbled into a simple territorial dispute. They had entered a carefully designed killing ground. Amy, activate the final phase. Amy's hands moved across controls that connected her directly to systems that spanned the entire star system. Ancient machinery that had been waiting for millions of years suddenly came to life throughout the asteroid belt, on distant moons, and in the depths of space itself. The Cathera fleet found themselves surrounded by weapons they had never imagined. Every asteroid became a missile. Every moon revealed hidden weapon batteries. Space itself seemed to turn against them as the defensive network revealed its true scope. This is impossible, Admiral Thekral whispered as his tactical displays showed hostile contacts appearing everywhere around his fleet. Actually, it's quite simple, Jake replied over the open channel. You attacked a human research vessel thinking we were weak and helpless. But humans have a particular talent, Admiral. We learn, we adapt. We take whatever tools we find and we make them better. The battle that followed was less a fight than a demonstration. The Cathera ships tried to maneuver but found themselves blocked by energy barriers. They attempted to retreat, but discovered that the system's edge was now sealed by defensive platforms. They opened fire with every weapon they possessed, but their attacks were absorbed and redirected back at them. Danny and his crew in the second human ship moved through the alien formation like predators hunting prey. Each shot was perfectly calculated to disable rather than destroy, leaving alien vessels helpless but intact. Captain, Amy reported, the network is requesting permission to process the captured alien vessels. Process them how? Convert them into hybrid ships like the Defiance. The system can strip out the Cathera weapons and navigation systems and replace them with network technology. We could have a fleet of 20 ships within days. Jake considered the implications. They could transform the entire Cathera battle group into human-controlled vessels. The aliens had brought them the raw materials for their own fleet expansion. Do it, Amy. But leave the alien crews alive. They're going to carry a message back to their empire. Over the next 6 hours, the ancient automated system systematically converted every Cathera ship in the system. Alien weapons were removed and replaced with network technology. Navigation systems were reprogrammed to respond to human commands. The proud warships of the Cathera hegemony became part of humanity's newest fleet. Admiral Thekral watched his entire command transformed before his eyes. When the process was complete, his ships no longer belonged to him. They were part of something far more dangerous than anything the Cathera had ever encountered. Jake transported the alien commanders to a single vessel that had been left unconverted. Admirals, you came here to destroy a human research ship. Instead, you have provided us with a fleet and valuable intelligence about Cathera military capabilities. Return to your empire and tell them what you have seen. Human, this act of war will bring the full might of the hegemony against your species. Jake smiled coldly. Admiral, you still don't understand. This was never about one research ship or one system. This was about showing the galaxy that humans don't just fight back when attacked. We evolve. We become stronger. We turn our enemies' own weapons against them. The single remaining Cathera ship limped away from the system, carrying word of what had happened. The message they brought to their empire would change everything. Humanity was no longer a minor species to be easily conquered. They had become something far more dangerous. Amy remained connected to the planetary network, now expanded to control a fleet of hybrid vessels. Lisa continued her work transforming human and alien technology into new combinations that neither species could have imagined alone. Danny commanded a squadron of converted warships crewed by volunteers from across human space. Jake stood on the bridge of the Defiance looking out at his new fleet. The ship that had been cornered and nearly destroyed had become the heart of something that would reshape the balance of power throughout the galaxy. Captain, Amy reported, we're receiving communications from human colonies throughout this sector. They want to know if we need assistance. Tell them we appreciate the offer, Amy, but we don't need rescue anymore. We've become something else entirely. The research vessel that had been trapped and attacked had evolved into the flagship of humanity's first truly hybrid fleet. The aliens had thought attacking a human starship would be simple. They had learned that humans don't just fight back when cornered, they become monsters that hunt across the stars.